Hi everyone, welcome to Arpita Sharma classes. I am Arpita Sharma, your educator, and today we are going to cover up the weekly current affairs update part 2, 21st September to 25th September. तो आज हम weekly current affairs from the Hindu newspaper from the Indian Express we are going to cover it. ये part 2 है, part 1 already upload कर दिया गया है. You can look at that part 1 in the description box. We have given the link also to part 1 and this is part 2. तो जो current affairs miss out हो गए थे वो हम part 2 में cover करेंगे. 21st सितंबर से 25th सितंबर 2020 के हिंदू एंड इंडियन एक्सप्रेस न्यूज़पेपर के द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट करंट अफेयर्स वी आर गोइंग टू कवर फ्रॉम प्रीलिम्स एंड मेंस पर्सपेक्टिव, राइट? एंड आल्सो द क्लास पीडीएफ्स आर अपलोडेड ऑन अ टाइमली basis on my telegram channel simplifying UPSC with ease. The link is given below in the description box. नीचे डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में ना टेलीग्राम चैनल का भी लिंक दिया हुआ है, तो आप वहां जाकर भी टेलीग्राम चैनल को ओपन अप कर सकते हो और वहां से आप क्लास के पीडीएफ्स और नोट्स को डाउनलोड कर सकते हो. Let's start decoding the important current affairs. The first important current affair is O Smart Scheme. Now this is very important from prelims perspective. ये जो current affairs है ना, ये टॉपिक जो है ना, ये आपके prelims के perspective से बहुत important है, right? From also in your मेंस पेपर जीएस पेपर 3 के पर्सपेक्टिव से ओ स्मार्ट स्कीम इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड इट. So when we study about O Smart Scheme, this news has been taken from PIB. ये जो news है ना, ये हमने PIB से Press Information Bureau से लिया है. Now this is important for GS paper 3 because in mains they can ask you the importance of ocean mapping, right, which is the objective of the scheme. And in prelims they can ask you about the ministry which is implementing the scheme. So the implementing ministry of the scheme is Ministry of Earth Sciences. You have to remember this for prelims. And the full form of the scheme is O means ocean, Services, Technology, Observation and Modeling and Science, right? Services, Technology, Observations, Resource, Modeling and Science. This is the full form of this particular scheme. And the aim is to step up ocean research, to enhance the ocean research and set up early warning weather systems. That is the aim of the scheme. Now it addresses the ocean development activities. जितनी भी ocean development activities है ना, ये उसको address करता है. So you can write it down. It addresses the ocean development activities. जितनी भी ocean development activities हैं, ये उनको monitor करता है, like services, technology, resource, observation, science. It provides necessary scientific and technological background also, which is required for implementing various aspects of blue economy, right? So that is why the scheme is very important. ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा important है scheme. Now let's read further. Now this scheme was approved in 2018 and now it is being implemented by Ministry of Earth Science. It aims at setting up the ocean research and setting up early warning weather system. It addresses ocean development activities like services, technology, resource, observation, science. It provides important scientific and technological background also to implement the blue economy perfectly. Okay. Now what are the objectives of this scheme? The objectives are, first objective is to generate and regularly update information on marine living resource and their relationship with physical environment in the exclusive economic zone. So I'm highlighting this exclusive economic zone. You have to remember its definition for prelims. आपको exclusive economic zone का ना definition prelims के लिए पढ़ना है. This is very important. So exclusive economic zone is the sea zone which is prescribed by the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of Sea, over which a sovereign state has special rights regarding the exploration and use of marine resources and also energy production from water and wind. That is known as exclusive economic zone. So it's a zone where the US and other coastal nations, they have jurisdiction over the natural resources. Okay, उसको हम बोलते हैं exclusive economic zone. And India, which is a traditionally maritime country with rich maritime heritage, it also has an exclusive economic zone of about 2.37 million kilometer, right? Clear? So these are this is the definition of exclusive economic zone which you need to remember for prelims. Now second objective is to periodically monitor the levels of seawater, pollutants for health assessment of coastal waters of India. to develop the shoreline, to develop wide range of state-of-art ocean observation system from protecting the ocean, right? To develop high-resolution models for ocean forecast, to develop algorithms for validation of satellite data for coastal research, etc. So these are the you can say objectives. Okay. Now, next important news is NHAI plans to monetize InvITs. Now, let us understand what is InvITs. So what are basically InvITs? ये InvITs क्या है? Now Infrastructure Investment Trust. So NHAI is going to monetize its highways through Infrastructure Investment Trust. Now first of all, for prelims, let us understand the basic definition of Infrastructure Investment Trust. It's like a mutual fund only, which will enable direct investment of small amounts of money from possible individual, or it can be institutional investors also, in the infrastructure. Why? To earn a small portion of income as return. So it will work like mutual funds, or you can say it can also work like, write it down, real estate investment trust. ठीक है, जैसे कि म्यूचुअल फंड्स होते हैं या REITs होती हैं, उनकी तरह काम करेगा ये इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इन्वेस्टमेंट ट्रस्ट. Right? InvITs can be treated as the modified version of real estate investment trust, which are designed to suit the specific circumstances of the infrastructure sector. Okay, now I guess first of all the definition is clear. मुझे लगता है कि अब आपको definition clear हो गई है. Secondly, let us understand what are REITs. अब ये क्या है, इसकी definition भी आपको clear होनी चाहिए. Right? So it is also roughly, write it down, roughly like a mutual fund, but it will invest in real estate, although the similarity doesn't go further. So ये एक तरीके से roughly mutual fund जैसा होता है, but ये real estate में invest करता है, bonds में या equities में नहीं. ठीक है? So the basic deal on the real estate investment trust is that you own a share of property, and so an appropriate share of the income from that property will come to you after deducting obviously the share of expenses, right? So essentially it's like a group of people pooling their money together and buying real estate, except that it's on a large scale and it is regulated. Clear? So that is the basic difference between real estate investment funds and the mutual funds. Right? Clear? Now the next question comes, why do we need the infrastructure investment funds and investment trust and this REIT? Why do we need it? We all know that when it comes to our sector, infrastructure and real estate, जब हम बात करते हैं infrastructure की और real estate की, these are the two most crucial sector. Right? We all know that two most crucial sectors in any developing economy, and a well-developed infrastructural setup propels the overall development of a country. अगर infrastructure setup जो है country का बहुत अच्छे से well defined है, well developed है, तो क्या होता है, overall country का economy का development होता है. It also facilitates a steady inflow of private and foreign investment, and thereby it augments means it increases the capital base available for the growth of the key sectors in the economy. So given the importance of these two sectors in the country and the paucity of public funds available to stimulate their growth, it is imperative that extra channels of financing should be put in place to develop these sectors. Clear? So now NHAI plans to issue InvITs in order to monetize their upcoming projects, and the cabinet had approved the setting up of Infrastructure Investment Trust in 2019. Now you understood what are InvITs. अब समझ आ गया InvITs क्या होते हैं. And this issue will enable NHAI, National Highway Authority of India, to monetize its completed national highways that have a toll collection track record of at least 1 year. Right? Clear? Now NHAI InvITs, it will be a trust established by NHAI under the Indian Trust Act 1882. Underline this is important, and it will be regulated by SEBI regulations. And these basically the structure of InvITs is like a mutual funds, that they have a trustee, sponsor, investment manager, project manager, and the trustee, which will be certified by SEBI, has the responsibility of inspecting the performance of this trust, the sponsors and promoters of the company. Right? Clear? और जो भी फंड रेस होगा ना, उसको हम स्पेशल पर्पस व्हीकल्स में इन्वेस्ट करेंगे ताकि हम नेशनल हाईवेज को फाइनेंस कर सके. ठीक है? क्लियर? Now coming on to the next important topic, that is the IIT laws, right? Now ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा important है आपके प्रीलिम्स के लिए, ये प्रीलिम्स के लिए काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. द अमेंडमेंट बिल, द इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी, ट्रिपल आईटी मींस, इसका मतलब क्या है, प्लीज लिख लीजिए इसको, इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट्स ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी. And the bill is going to it has already been passed by Lok Sabha in the previous session, that is on March 20, 2020. 20 मार्च को वैसे ही ये पास हो गया था लोक सभा में. Now it will also enable the institute to attract enough students required to develop a strong research base in the country in the field of environment information technology. Okay. So this news I have taken from the Indian Express newspaper. ये news मैंने कहाँ से लिया है, Indian Express newspaper से लिया है. This is very very important, right? चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. So the government has passed Indian Institutes of Information Technology bill in Rajya Sabha, and the bill will give status of national importance to 5 Indian Institute of Information Technologies which are in Surat, Bhopal, Agartala, Bhagalpur and Raichur. Please remember the places where these IITs are. Indian Institute of Information Technology, 5 institutes which will be given the tag of national importance: Surat, Bhopal, Agartala, Bhagalpur and Raichur. Now the institutes will able to use the nomenclature of Bachelor of Technology or Master of Technology or PhD degree in their courses. They will be covered under the Triple IT PPPP Act 2017, and they were these triple ITs were established to promote higher education. Now they are being given the status of national importance, so obviously the quality of information will increase, right? The bill will also enable these institutes to attract enough students because of the status that they are going to get. Okay, आगे बढ़ते हैं. National Investigation Agency, NIA, again very important topic. Now first let's understand why it's important. It's important for prelims and mains because it's the important security agencies that is in your syllabus also. For prelims you have to understand their objectives, their composition, their functions, and for mains you have to understand the amendments, criticism, concerns, everything in this particular agency. Now the government has empowered the National Investigation Agency to investigate. Why? To investigate offences under Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act, so that the agency need not rely on local police to unravel the drug trade ties, right? Now what is NIA? ये पढ़ लेते हैं थोड़ा सा. NIA होता क्या है? It acts as a Central Counter Terrorism Law Enforcement Agency. Write it down. It acts as a Central Counter Terrorism Law Enforcement Agency. Okay, and it is empowered to deal with terror related crimes across the states without special permission from the states. अगर states में किसी भी तरीके की terror related activity है, crime है, इसमें NIA step in कर सकता है, उसे state की permission की जरूरत नहीं होगी. And it established under the National Investigation Agency Act of 2008. And the governing body is, remember this for prelims, इसकी governing body कौन सी है? The governing body is Ministry of Home Affairs, MHA. Okay. Coming on to CPCB, questions on NGT and CPCB, they are often they are asked in the prelims. So CPCB recently celebrated its 46th foundation day, and it's a statutory organization, not a non-statutory organization, but it's a statutory organization. It was formed in 1974 under Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 and was entrusted with the powers and functions under the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. It serves as a field formation and also provides technical services to Ministry of Environment and Forest under the EPA 1986. So you have to remember these important pointers for your prelims. Now next is Swachh Vidyalaya Abhiyan. Now here in this particular scheme, this is important for GS paper 2. GS paper 2 के perspective से important है, prelims के perspective से important है. It was launched in 2014. 2014 में इसको launch किया गया था. Okay, by the then Ministry of Human Resource Development. उस टाइम पर Human Resource Development Ministry के द्वारा 2014 में लॉन्च किया गया था. But now this ministry is Ministry of Education. Okay, now the Ministry of Human Resource Development is the Ministry of Education. So that is why this is a news. So you will remember that which ministry is launching this particular scheme or this Abhiyan. It is the Ministry of Education. And this aim of this particular scheme is to meet the Right to Education Act's mandate that all schools must have separate toilets for boys and girls. तो हर स्कूल में सेपरेट टॉयलेट गर्ल्स और बॉयज के लिए तैयार किए जाए, उसका ध्यान रखेगा ये अभियान. स्वच्छ दैट मीन्स क्लीन, विद्यालय मीन्स स्कूल, अभियान. Comptroller and Auditor General of India recently submitted a report on the performance of this program. That's why it was in news. Now, to implement this program, who will be given the responsibility? It will be the Central Public Sector Enterprise, which will be given this responsibility to implement this Abhiyan. And the program norms requires the CPSEs, that is the Central Public Sector Enterprise, to build toilets with running water and hand washing facilities in every school. Okay, and it also requires CPSEs to maintain the toilets for 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years. Remember this for prelims, while charging the annual expense to their corporate social responsibility budgets. जो CSR budgets होंगे वहाँ से expense लिए जाएंगे. ठीक है? So what are the key highlights of this particular scheme? इस scheme के key highlights क्या हैं? Public sector units claimed to have constructed 1.4 lakh toilets in government schools as part of Right to Education project, but almost 40% of those surveyed were found to be non-existent. So in the paper, it's been shown that there are 1.4 lakh toilets which have been constructed, but 40% do not exist. Right? Over 70% did not have running water facilities. 75% were not maintained hygienically. The objective of providing separate toilets for boys and girls was not fulfilled in 27% of the schools as per the report submitted by Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So the scheme right now we can say it's not getting implemented the way it should be, or secondly you can also say that this scheme has failed to fulfill the objectives set up by the Ministry of Education. Now in mains, what kind of question can come? In mains the question can come, discuss the performance of Swachh Vidyalay Abhiyan in 200 words. They can ask you this question in GS paper 2. GS paper 2 में आपसे ये question पूछा जा सकता है. ठीक है? Now the next news, RBI releases document on UCB's cyber security. So again very important for GS paper 3. GS paper 3 के लिए important है ये cyber security and related issues. So the context of this news is that technology vision for cyber security for urban cooperative bank, UCB means urban cooperative banks, 2020-2023 was recently released by RBI. You have to remember which organization released this particular statement or this document. It was RBI. तो technology vision for cyber security Ministry of Technology ने नहीं, RBI ने release किया है, ये याद रखिएगा. And it has been formalized based on the inputs from the various stakeholders in the market. Why? To enhance the cyber security of the urban cooperative banks. Okay, so RBI ने क्या किया है? RBI ने प्लान किया है कि हम अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स कैसे अचीव करने वाले हैं. हम 5 pillared strategic approach लेंगे जिसको GARD बोलते हैं. So this 5 pillared strategic approach will be GARD, that is governance oversight, utile technology investment, appropriate regulation and supervision, robust collaboration, developing necessary IT cyber security skill sets. So governance होगी इसमें, technology investment utility होगी, regulation होगी, robust collaboration होगा और necessary skill sets भी develop किए जाएंगे. Clear? So you have to remember the 5 pillared strategy of RBI which has been released as a part of this document named as Technology Vision for Cyber Security for Urban Cooperative Banks 2020-23. In UPSC in prelims they can also confuse you by misquoting these years. They can give you 2021 to 24. That will be wrong. It's 2020 to 23. That is a 3-year prolonged strategy. Okay. And why it has been released? To enhance the cyber security in the urban cooperative banks. Coming on to the next important topic of Lok Adalat. Now again it's very important for prelims. ये आपके prelims के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा important है. So accordingly we are going to study it. Now when we talk about Lok Adalat, now here the key points you have to study and it's a part of GS paper 2. Now first thing that you need to understand is why it's a news. ये news में क्यों है? Because recently a daily wager in Odisha's Kandhamal district has moved the Lok Adalat against the Prime Minister of India, but the hearing is yet to begin. He allegedly failed to get an Aadhaar card registered in his name despite various attempts due to technical glitches in taking his fingerprint. Now this is a genuine issue. Why? Because yes, there are many people who are facing this kind of problem. While they register for Aadhaar card, there are technical glitches while taking the fingerprint of the issuer, right, of the or the person who is trying to create Aadhaar card on his name. So he took this unusual step for redressal of his grievance as he ran out of patience after applying and getting photographed multiple times at different places for the elusive card. Now, first of all, we need to understand what is Lok Adalat. Lok Adalat means, Lok means people, right? And Adalat means court. So it means people's court, and it is based on Gandhian principles. किस principle पे हमने इसको establish किया है? Gandhian principles पे. ठीक है? Now, as per the Supreme Court, it is an old form of adjudicating system prevailed in ancient India, and its validity has not been taken away even in the modern days. So it is one of the components of ADR. What is ADR? Alternative Dispute Resolution System, because it delivers informal, cheap and expeditious justice to the common people. Now in prelims they can ask you, when was the first Lok Adalat camp organized? So you can write, the first Lok Adalat camp was organized in 1982 in the state of Gujarat. गुजरात में 1982 में पहला लोक अदालत कैंप स्टैब्लिश किया गया था. It was a voluntary and conciliatory agency without any statutory backing for its decision. Now, in view of its growing popularity over the time, it was given statutory status also under the Legal Service Authorities Act of 1987. And the Act makes the provisions relating to organization and functioning of the Lok Adalat. Now, what is the constitutional basis of establishing Lok Adalat? Article 39A of the Constitution provides for free legal aid to the deprived and weaker sections of the society to promote justice on the basis of equal opportunity. So remember, which article provides free legal aid? Article 39A. And Article 14 of the Constitution makes it compulsory for the state to guarantee equality before law. So equality before law, it is under the Article 14. So Article 39A, free legal aid. Article 14, equality before law. Okay, remember. Now the nature of cases which can be referred to Lok Adalat. Any case which is pending before any court, not just Supreme or not just High Court, any court. Any dispute which has not been, now any case and any dispute, underline this. तो इसमें दो चीजें याद रखिएगा, any case and any dispute before any court which has not been brought before any court and is likely to be filed before the court. So even before filing that case before the court, you can bring that case into the Lok Adalat. Provided that any matter relating to an offence not compoundable under the law shall not be settled in Lok Adalat. For example, there is any case which is on a offence or on a matter which does not count as a offence or it is not covered under any law, that case will not be settled in Lok Adalat. The decision made by Lok Adalat is considered to be a verdict of civil court and is ultimate and binding on all the parties. However, you can also, you must be thinking that we can, make any appeal against the verdict made by Lok Adalat. However, that is not the case. ओके अगर मान लो कोई लोक अदालत वर्डिक्ट पास करती है तो वो हम सिविल कोर्ट की तरह उस वर्डिक्ट को लेंगे और कोई ऐसा प्रोविजन नहीं है कि आप लोक अदालत ने जो वर्डिक्ट पास किया है उसके खिलाफ अपील कर सको. But they are free to initiate litigation by approaching the court of appropriate jurisdiction by filing a case by following the required procedure in exercise of their right to litigate. Right? So this is all about the Lok Adalat. ये तो बात हो गई आपकी लोक अदालत की. Now matters like matrimonial, family disputes, criminal cases, land acquisition, all these cases are being taken up in the Lok Adalat. But the Lok Adalat shall have no jurisdiction in respect of any case or matter relating to an offence not compoundable under any law. ठीक है? इतनी बात clear हो गई सबको? चलो. Now let's move forward. Center allows 5 states to borrow. The centre has permitted 5 states to borrow an extra 9,913 crore through open market borrowings to meet expenditure requirements amid the falling revenues due to COVID-19 crisis. And these 5 states are, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Goa, Karnataka and Tripura. These are the 5 states who have been permitted by the center to borrow 9,913 crore. Now the question for prelims and GS paper 2 is, why states need center's permission while borrowing? Is it mandatory for all the states? So Article 293 subsection 3 of the Constitution requires states to obtain center's consent in order to borrow in case the state is indebted to center over a previous loan. So article you have to remember for prelims, Article 293. Now अभी हमने Article 39A पढ़ा था. 39A क्या बोलता है कि फ्री लीगल एड सबको प्रोवाइड करना चाहिए. फिर हमने आर्टिकल 14 पढ़ा. आर्टिकल 14 क्या बोलता है? इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ. और आर्टिकल 293 सबसेक्शन 3 क्या बोलता है कि अगर कोई प्रीवियस लोन है स्टेट का, राइट, तो स्टेट्स को सेंटर का परमिशन चाहिए होगा अगर उनको और फर्दर लोन लेना है तो. This consent can also be granted subject to certain conditions by virtue of Article 293 subsection 4. So the conditions which are listed in 293(4), right, you have to follow them. So in practice, Center has been exercising this power in accordance with recommendation of Finance Commission. So every single state is currently indebted to Center and thus all of them require Center's consent in order to borrow. Clear? And center can also impose conditions only when it gives consent. मान लो सेंटर ने बोल दिया कि ठीक है हम आपको अलाउ करते हैं ये इतने करोड़ का लोन लेने का, बट इसके साथ सेंटर के पास पावर है कि वो कंडीशंस भी पुट अप कर सकता है कि अगर आपने ये कंडीशंस फुलफिल किए तभी आपको ये लोन मिलेगा. ठीक है, मूविंग फॉरवर्ड आगे बढ़ते हैं. G4 seeks time bound reform of Security Council. First thing you need to remember is G4, the aim of G4. Then you have to study the composition of G4 and you have to study when was it established, कब इसको establish किया गया था. So the foreign ministers of G4 countries held a virtual meeting coinciding with 75th session of UNGA, during which they held extensive discussion on the need for urgent reform of UNSC. They expressed their concern over lack of any meaningful forward movement on long pending reform of council and demanded urgency on the issue. So let's understand what is G4. G4 समझ लेते हैं. So basically on the 75th anniversary of UN, G4 nations have demanded reforms to be made in UNSC, that is United Nations Security Council, wherein China is the only developing country in UNSC, developing country. But China has rejected these demands, particularly with respect to inclusion of India and Japan. G4 nations ने 75th एनिवर्सरी यूएन का जब मनाया जा रहा था तो डिमांड्स रखी हैं अपनी सामने कि यूएनएससी में हमें भी इंक्लूड किया जाए और रिफॉर्म्स लेकर आया जाए, बट चाइना ने ये डिमांड्स रिजेक्ट कर दी हैं. So there are four nations which are a part of G4: Brazil, Germany, India and Japan. You have to remember this for prelims. Prelims के लिए ये याद रखना पड़ेगा. Brazil, Germany, BGIJ, right? Brazil, Germany. You can also remember big J, right? Brazil, India, Germany, Japan. आप इस तरीके से याद रख सकते हो. Now G4 countries, they decided to prepare for fresh push for reforms at the UNGA in 2020, but it has been rejected because China has always said that the decision should be taken through comprehensive consensus, and when China is not accepting the demands, nobody else can accept, right? Because there will be then no comprehensive consensus among the nations in the UNSC. So this is the issue about the G4 nations. So let's move forward to the homework questions for all of you. Which of the following statements is or are correct? A bill pending in Lok Sabha lapses on its prorogation. A bill pending in Rajya Sabha which has not been passed by Lok Sabha shall not lapse on dissolution of Lok Sabha. Which option is correct? You have to mark the correct answer in the comment section as it's your homework question. ये आपका आज का homework question है, तो इसका correct answer आप नीचे comment section में mark करेंगे. Next question, which was asked in 2016. Project Loon, sometimes seen in the news, is related to waste management technology, wireless communication technology, solar power production technology, or water conservation technology. You have to answer it in the comment section given below. Third homework question, with reference to Financial Stability and Development Council, consider the following statements. It's an organ of Niti Aayog. It is headed by Union Finance Minister. It monitors macro-prudential supervision of economy. Which statement is correct? Now this is the practice question for mains. First question, discuss the concept of air mass and explain its role in macroclimatic changes. 200 words में answer करना है. Second question, Parliament's power to amend Constitution is limited power and it cannot be enlarged into absolute power. In the light of this statement, explain whether Parliament under Article 368 of Constitution can destroy the basic structure of Constitution by expanding its amending power. Answer this question in 250 words. So these are the questions taken from previous year question papers on Article 368 and air mass. You have to answer them in the in your notebook. You have to write down the answers. These are the practice questions for all of you. ये आप सभी के लिए practice questions हैं जो आपको practice करने हैं. So on this note, we are wrapping up the session. Thank you everyone for participating in the class.